Hello, we will talk about chapter 2, frequency distribution. Frequency is basically how many items you have in every group. One thing that I would like you to watch out is that, as you can see, the first class is from 1 to 5. You have to know that the class width for this class is 5 and not 4, because you have to count 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So the class width will be 5. You don't take the difference, or take the difference between 6 and 1, and this is going to give you the class width, which is very important. So frequency is how many items, number of items that you have in every class. This is the lower class limit, and this is the upper class limit. And one more time, the class width will be equal to 5. Now, usually I will give you the number of classes. So the first step that we have to do is to figure out the class width. So we find the minimum and the maximum value, and then we calculate the difference. So basically we have to calculate the range, and then we divide by the number of classes. The number of classes will be given in any problem, or I will give you the first class. So then you have to round up to the next convenient number. Then you have to start with the minimum value and create the lower limit of the first class, and then find the remaining lower limits. Simply you add the class width that you calculate. And the next step is to calculate the upper limit. One more time, the classes cannot overlap. So in this problem we have 50 data. As you can see, the minimum value is 7, it's here, and the maximum is 86, and we have to use 7 classes. So we have to calculate the class width. 86 minus 7 divided by 7 classes. So this is 11.3. Always we have to round up. So in this case we round up to 12. The minimum value is 7, so we create the lower limit, which is 7 plus 12, 19, plus 12, 31, plus 12, 43, and so on. And then we create the upper limit, which is 1 less than the lower limit of the second class. And then you add 12 again, the class width. So this is how you create the classes. After you create the classes, you have to figure out how many items you have in every class. So between 7 and 18 you have 6 data, between 19 and 30, 10, and so on. The summation, and this is sigma, has to be equal to 50, because you have 50 observations. The next step is to calculate the relative frequency. The relative frequency is simply you divide the frequency by the sample size. What is the sample size? The sample size in this case is 50, because we have 50 observations. So the relative frequency will be 6 over 50, which is 0.12, 10 over 50, 0.2, 13 over 50, 0.26, and then you continue. So this is how you calculate the frequency and the relative frequency. And this is the complete table. Again, the summation of the relative frequencies is equal to 1. The next step is to create some graphs, and I think that you are familiar with the histogram. One thing about the histogram is that we use it for quantitative data, and the bars have to be connected. So histogram is for quantitative data, and the bars must be connected. And this is the histogram for the previous example. Stem and leaf. The stem and leaf is very similar to the histogram. Every number you have to be separated into a stem and a leaf. The first digit is the stem, the second digit is the leaf. As you can see, you have to draw a vertical line, and then you continue from there. Don't forget that the leaves have to be in order from the smallest to the largest. And these are the steps to create a stem and leaf. And this is the example that I have. Again, you have to start with the minimum value. The minimum value is 78. And then you have to figure out the maximum value. The maximum value, as you can see, it's 159. So the stems will go from 7 to 15. And even if you don't have any data in the 80s and 90s, still you have to write the stems. Now, if you have too many data, you may have an unordered stem and leaf. If you have few data, 15-20 observations, you can create directly the stem and leaf. And from here, your conclusion is that around 50% of the phone users send between 110 and 130 text messages. The bar chart, it is similar to the histogram. Two main differences. The first one is that we use it for qualitative data, and the second is that the bars are separated. This is one example that we have 20 guests in a hotel, how they rated the hotel, and this is going to be the bar chart for this problem. As you can see, the hotel took one only excellent review, a lot, actually 9 above average, and then few were below average, 3 below average and 2 poor. The last thing is the pie chart, where a circle is divided into sectors, and basically you have to multiply the relative frequency times 360, because we have 360 degrees in a circle. And this is an example. We have the frequency, we have to calculate the relative frequency, and then based on that we create the pie chart.